It's been a big end to the month of January here in Hong Kong racing. Last Sunday, Waikuku and Beat the Clock stamped themselves as the Group 1 stars of Hong Kong racing, while the next generation of Group 1 stars will line up in the Hong Kong Classic Mile on Monday as they plot their paths towards the Hong Kong Derby in March. Here's what we've got coming up for you on Hong Kong Direct. Doug Chalmers will take a look back at what happened last Sunday in the Centenary Sprint Cup and also in the Stewards Cup, while we'll be taking a closer look at the 9 runners that will line up in the $10 million Hong Kong Classic Mile on a big 11 race card coming up at Sha Tin. Great to have your company on this week's edition of Hong Kong Direct. I'm Edward Sadler, and on a week where we are focusing on the rising stars of the racing ranks here in Hong Kong, it's great to have the rising stars of the racing media ranks here in Hong Kong joining me on the show. Race caller Tom Wood and Trenton Akers from the South China Morning Post. Boys, terrific meeting coming up on Monday. The Classic Mile's the highlight. Tom, Francis Loy, he's got 2 big chances in it.
He does, Ed. 2 terrific chances. Both the ace cards, I think, for the 4-year-old series so far held by Francis Loy. More than this, he was terrific winning last start on International Day. Probably rode him off at the 800 metres, but you don't see too many horses do what he did on International Day, the way that he did it. And he's got the big race rider Ryan Moore coming across to ride. And Golden 60, he's taken all before him. He was brilliant on New Year's Day. He's now, 7 from 8. He's relaxed a lot better in his runs. So, look, I find it very hard to split them.
Trenton, those horses more than this, Golden 60 and also Champion's Way, have long been talked about as the main players for the 4-year-old series. But a few weeks ago, another horse put his name up as a genuine contender.
Yeah, I thought Beauty Legacy was absolutely outstanding on debut. Tom talked about transformed horse in Golden 60 and relaxing, but I think what John Size has done with Beauty Legacy has been absolutely phenomenal. He's been very patient with him. You know, a lot of trainers would have had the horse there racing a month or so earlier than what John did, but he trialled him, and you can see in Australia he was hawkshot. He liked to rip and tear and really run along, but John taught him to settle, and there's still a few things to iron out with him, but you saw his debut run. He just settled beautifully and then just stormed through under Joe Moreira. So he's going to be a threat. There's no doubting it. That was he put the writing on the wall with that run. So I think if John wins this race, it's incredible training performance, I would say.
Okay, we'll delve deeper into the Classic Mile later on in the show, but we had a Group 1 doubleheader last Sunday at Sha Tin. Here's Doug Chalmers with the review of the day.
Sunday was a day to remember for Joe Moreira and John Size as the devastating duo combined to take out the 2 $10 million Group 1 features. It all started in the Stewards Cup, where Waikuku announced himself as Hong Kong's best miler, beating Beauty Generation for a 4th time in succession in what was a thrilling battle.
Here comes Waikuku. He's storming down the middle of the track. He's only half a length away. Kaying Star Ratton. Waikuku's moved up on the outside of Beauty Generation. The champ's trying to fight, but Waikuku stamps his authority to win the Stewards Cup.
Yeah, he's been going very well this season, and he's made improvement along the way, and he delivered on his promises. So he's just a lovely horse to have in the stable.
As for Beauty Generation, his plans are still up in the air, with trainer John Moore hoping to take his 7-year-old to Meydan for the Group 1 Dubai Turf at the end of March. 2 races later, it was Size and Moreira to the fore again, as Beat the Clock defied a poor start to land his 4th Group 1 win in the Centenary Sprint Cup.
Beat the Clock, out wide a Hot King Prawn. The leader is Beat the Clock. He's going to go back-to-back here in the Centenary Sprint Cup, and he wins.
When he gets in front, it looks like he's just going to run away. But he doesn't mind to just put his neck in front and just stay there. I can feel like that he's mowing him, but he's just not giving. I don't mind, because as long as he crosses the line first, I'm happy.
Moreira has now won 4 of the 6 Group 1 races run in Hong Kong this season, with Sunday's Group 1 double coming just 1 month after his Hong Kong Sprint and Vars triumphs. The feature racing action continues this week. Monday's Chinese New Year fixture will see the next generation of Hong Kong star race horses line up in the first leg of the Classic Series, the Hong Kong Classic Mile.
Doug Chalmers with the review there of the two Group 1s on Sunday. Big day, as mentioned, for Joe Moreira and John Size. Starting, Tom, then with Waikuku taking out the Stewards Cup. Great battle with him and Beauty Generation, but was that the handing over the baton as to who is Hong Kong's best miler?
I think it definitely was. Waikuku's beaten Beauty Generation on numerous occasions now, and he was able to fight really hard over the top and over the final stages. Was a really confident ride in the end by Joe Moreira. Sat back, peeled out round the home turn, and finished off with a blaze of glory. Really did Waikuku. Nothing lost from Beauty Generation. He fought doggedly. Maybe the gear change there, the blinkers coming off, and the cheek pieces going on sparked him up. But again, diminished, but he's not done.
They paired the rest of them. They really put a big gap on the rest of the field, didn't they, Trenton?
They absolutely cleared out. They're the two class horses in the race, aren't they? And you know that showed. You're right about Joe's ride. I thought that was a really good ride. And you know, Zach's ride as well on Beauty Generation. He controlled the race from the front, and even John Size said he timed it perfectly. So. Yeah, the Waikuku's the premier miler in Hong Kong. I don't think you can question that. But there was a spark in Beauty Generation. There's something there. Just a matter of what they do next with him is the big question now.
Because that's the thing. He might have been beaten at his last four now, but he hasn't been racing badly.
No, and there's been a lot of calls out there saying, "Oh, why wouldn't you retire and whatnot?" But he's still racing well. He looks like he's enjoying his racing. He's still picking up prize money checks. He's only been beaten in the end a neck in that race last time out.
Yeah.
So look. Why he's still racing well, keep running, I say.
Yeah.
Where to for the pair of them now, Trenton?
Well, it sounds like Waikuku's going to have a fair old break. John Size said he might put him away and look towards the end of the season. But I would not be surprised if Beauty Generation ends up in the 1400 metre Queen's Silver Jubilee in a few weeks' time. Obviously, he's won that race the last 2 years in a row. So the drop down in trip will be interesting. He's, you never know. He looked a lot better in his last start than he had earlier this season, so you couldn't write him off in that race.
He's won the race, as you say, the last 2 years, the Queen Silver Jubilee Cup. He's beaten Beat the Clock, who got his fourth Group 1 win on Sunday, Tom.
Yeah, it was a great effort again from Beat the Clock, just so consistent. He went round at 2.5, which in hindsight was a gift of a price really for a horse that doesn't ever really finish out of the top four, hasn't finished out of the top four through his career here in Hong Kong. Another great ride from Joe Moreira, settled back, nice run behind them. The gaps all opened up when he required in the straight and went on by, but he had a bit of an anxious moment in the straight because thanks forever for John Moore and Grant Van Niekerk did not want to go away.
I think he was the most excited bloke in Sha Tin for a while there, Grant Van Niekerk, halfway up the straight. I spoke to him afterwards and he just thought he was going to win the race. He gave a massive kick and he nearly stole it, so credit to him for a huge performance there.
For where he was rated in the race and whatnot, he ran out of his skin.
Yeah.
We've got to touch on the training achievement too of John Size. He's won 7 of the last 10 Sprint Group 1s in Hong Kong. That's a huge feat.
He just continues to churn them out, doesn't he? He's even Mr. Stunning that won when it wasn't his with Frankie Law. He produced that horse and he trained it up, and he gets them from the base and he gets them all the way to the top level. So just an incredible training performance and just continues to do it time after time.
They were the best sprinters here in Hong Kong available at the time. The significant absentee from that race, Tom, was definitely a Theo.
Yeah, we get to see him and what John Moore decides to do with him. He's been away since that gallant effort in the international sprint there on the 8th of December. He missed out only just on that occasion. He's had that little bit of a virus that's probably set him back a little bit further than John would have hoped at this stage in his career, but he'll bounce back. He'll be on the trial track no doubt soon. They've got a race plan for him coming up 8th of March. They're going to put an extra race at the club for him to potentially get him to head towards to Dubai for the El Quaz.
Okay, so that was the feature racing action on Sunday, dual Group 1 day of racing, but the feature racing action continues on Monday at Sha Tin. The feature event is the Hong Kong Classic Miler race. The trainer Francis Loy hasn't won before. He's got 2 runners in it, Golden 60 for Vincent Ho and also More Than This.
Actually, it's not a secret because most of the horses can perform and they are healthy. And also Vincent, he is good health.
I try to get on most of the winners for him, and not let other competitors get winners from Mr. Loy.
His mind, he got a very strong mind, especially in race. He try hard in every races, and you can see every races give you a big surprise.
But he's a super smart horse, this guy. Golden 60, another nice win.
Everyone dreamed to win the classic, all the classic races, and it's tough and it's not easy, but we've got good horse, and Mr. Loy got 2 good horses, so it's going to be exciting.
His pedigree show he can handle further distance. This horse has got very good fighting heart. I can't say at the moment he can handle even 18 or 2,000 meters. I think Mao is no problem.
They've been supporting me a lot, and of course I want to win the big races for the whole stable and for him. You gotta be confident on every horse. It will be the same on Golden 60. He will show us or even surprise us with something even better than before.
Of course, good horses can make me famous, and I try my best, and I hope I can make it.
Good to have your company on this week's edition of Hong Kong Direct, racing on Monday at Sha Tin. And the feature event is the Hong Kong Classic Mile, the first leg of the 4-year-old classic series that builds up towards the Hong Kong Derby in March. It's race 8 on the card, and number 1 is Golden 60, undefeated this season. John Size, represented by Champions Way and Beauty Legacy. More than this, Ryan Moore flies in to ride him. Frankie Law clean swept the 4-year-old series last year. He's got Decrypt in it as his representative in the race. And John Moore with 2 in it, Buddies, number 7, and also number 9 in Ore. Let's start then at the very top. Golden 60, undefeated this season. Tom only beaten once when he had excuses last season. He's been super this campaign.
He has. He's just got such a good turn of foot. Vincent Ho was really happy with the way he relaxed last time out over the 1,400 metres. So he steps to the 1,600 metres, course and distance for the first time. But look, I see the way he's been racing. I don't see him having any trouble getting that at all. He seems to settle well. He's settled really well in his last couple of runs. That turn of foot that he can show inside the final 250 metres is brilliant.
It's electric, isn't it? It really is. He lets down like such a good horse, Golden 60. It's a credit to Francis Loy and Vincent Ho. They've done a terrific job with him, and he's only had the one blemish on his report card late last season, but this season, flawless, I would say. Yeah.
Have you got any concerns about him stamina-wise up in Trip Trenton?
Not for 1,600, maybe further on over the Classic Cup and the Derby distance, but in the present 1,600 metres, play on. Yeah.
And as you say, Tom, with that turn of foot that he's got, you look at his win in the Group 3 on New Year's Day, the Chinese Club Challenge Cup. He puts the race away pretty quickly.
He doesn't really give his rest of his rivals a look at it. He beat Fat Turtle on that occasion, also Champions Way, who was a gallant third in that race. So he just seems to put them to bed sort of in that final sort of 150, and then the others don't get a look at. And so I'm excited to see what he can do come Monday afternoon.
So that's Golden 60. John Size has got 2 representatives in the race. Joe Moreira had to pick one of them. He's picked Beauty Legacy.
His win last time was quite impressive, and I think very few horses can do what he's done. First up in Hong Kong, in the rate that he was, in the class that he was, that he is still. Very few, and he proved that he's able to do it. So it was definitely a very difficult decision, but as I've been saying, I can't ride 2 horses. It could be the wrong one, because Champions Way is a horse that has been running well in strong races, and no doubt that he needed a couple of runs to bring his best. But we had to make a decision, and hopefully I didn't do the wrong one.
So that's Joe's explanation for why he's gone with Beauty Legacy. Tom, is it the right call?
I think it is. John Size concocted a master plan last time out to win with Joe Moreira on board. He settled back. The horse has been known to be a little bit of a hothead in the past, and I think he probably still is inclined to be that way, but it was a great training performance from John to get him up and running that first time off the back of several trials. He seemed to relax okay in the run, and then the gaps just opened up as Joe wanted them on the rails. So yeah, I think he's made the right decision. He should be a better horse second up, and stepping up to the 1,600 metres should see no qualms from either.
Champions Way, I thought, Trenton, last season, if we had this conversation in July, he would have been our Derby horse, I think, unanimously. But has he been disappointing this season?
Oh, no question he's been a little bit disappointing. But that's only because of the bar that he set himself, I think. He's last year, he was phenomenal last year. He really was. He just hits that little bit of a flat spot in a race each time. And I just think John Size, he would not have had him screwed down yet fully this season. So you're willing to give him another go. But he needs to perform now. This is the grand final for him, and this is his go. So, I mean, Karis Teeton, he's got himself on a decent horse after getting thrown off more than this, hasn't he? You can't knock that. So he's in there with a winning chance.
Well, that leads us nicely into more than this. As far as Francis Lloyd's 2 horses in the race go, Golden 60's got the brilliance. More than this looks to have stamina assured.
He does, and I don't think he's the full furnished article just yet. More than this, you can see he carries his tail a little bit of in a funny way sometimes during the run. Last time out, he was just brilliant. From the 800 metres, he was 3 wide last, covered a bit of ground round the home turn. You don't see horses win like he did last start very often in the last race on International Day. The brilliance he showed, I think, up over further, once you get to see him over 1,800 and 2,000 metres, I think we'll see the best of him.
That's a good point you make. Can he win over 1,600, or do you think more than this, Trenton's more of the Classic Cup Derby type of horse?
He could definitely win if it's run to suit. I can't see much speed in this race in terms of a really genuine speed that would give him a nice toe in. I think going on, I think that the 1,800 and the 2,000 metres is probably more his go. But yeah, he's in with a chance here.
Frankie Law had a super 4-year-old series last year. Tom, this year, the Classic Mile, Decrypt placed in the Irish 2,000 guineas. What have you made of what he's done so far?
Well, he's had 2 good runs so far where he's finished 3rd in both of them behind Perfect Match and Beauty Legacy last time out, beaten 1 3/4 and 2 lengths in his last couple of runs. Look, I think he can potentially see out 1,600 metres, but whether it will be a strong 1,600 metres if they don't run quick, if a horse like Buddies is going to get his own way in front, Playa del Puente potentially in the trail behind him, and if they don't go hard, that could make it a little bit tough for a horse like him, who I think probably will end up about 3 back the fence, sort of midfield in the run. Could make it a little bit hard for him to run on, but in saying that, if they don't run it at a quick tempo, that might allow him to still be there at the finish.
He's loomed up each time, hasn't he, both his starts, like he was going to go past him, and just hasn't been able to put him away. You can excuse that first go because you're maybe not fit, but second go you probably wanted to see a little bit more from him. But yeah, it's going to be very tempo related, this race, in terms of who makes their move.
Okay, well, Buddies looks like a go-forward type of horse. We've seen that in his races, in his trials. Would he be better, though, if the Classic Mile was over 16.50 on the dirt?
I think probably so, Ed. Derek Lung picking up the ride for the son of So You Think. Look, he has been good. You look at his record, 3 wins, 2 seconds and a third on the all-weather from his 6 runs. So he loves that surface. I get the feeling that sort of from 7, 8, 9, they're kind of making up the numbers.
Yeah, I reckon it's a Classic Mile that's the top 4 or 5, very strong, but we're not seeing the full 4-year-olds here, are we? We've got a Class 2 race coming up next month, which has a lot of probably your proper Derby and Classic Mile contenders going there. So a few horses kind of bypassing the Classic Series, looking to get into the Derby via other ways at the moment. Yeah.
So even as a proud Kiwi, Tom, you couldn't really see star performance, the ex-Kiwi giving Zach Purton his first Classic Mile?
No, look, I think 1,600 metres would probably test him. 1,400 metres, 1,200 metres is go. I think we saw him over 1,400 metres when he was able to win first up at a huge price for Tony Cruz. But look, I think 1,600 metres is probably going to stretch him. Hood coming off though, but I'd be just concerned a little bit with the distance.
Okay, so that's the field then for the Classic Mile when it's all said and done. Who are you tipping, Tom?
I'm really torn between Golden 60 and More Than This. I think probably Golden 60 here at the 1,600 metres stepping up. I think he can really see it out. We have seen More Than This win over 1,600 metres in his run here so far. He's 3 from 5 course and distance, but I'm going to go with Golden 60.
Trenton, for you, who are you with for the big one?
Just looking at, I can't. Golden 60 is probably the horse to beat, but he's probably going to start odds on. So. Looking wide, I can't. Champion's Way, I just think he's the forgotten horse in this race. John Size, he's going to have him ready. He's going to have him really. This is his grand final, so I reckon you're going to get a decent price, and I just think he's going to be in there with a chance.
I can see where you're coming from in that I thought he was better on New Year's Day Champions Way, and even his trial through the week suggests that he's better again since that run. He looks like he's going to be peaking at the right time.
Yeah, I agree. You could tell first up he just wasn't at his full fitness, so he wasn't there. And you know, when he ran behind Golden 60, I thought there was merit in it last time, and he's just got to improve that little bit more, which I think he can get. He showed that last season. He improves that little bit more. He's kind of in there with Golden 60. So for the price differential, I think that's a good play.
Okay, so Golden 60 Champions Way. I'll take Beauty Legacy then as far as the Classic Mile coming up on Monday is concerned. It's an 11 race card coming up. Other features include the Chinese New Year Cup and also the Group 3 Centenary Vase, where we're going to get to see Exultant line up at the races for the first time in 2020. After that, a quick backup for Happy Valley on Wednesday night and then back to Sha Tin over the weekend. But that's all we've got time for on this week's edition of Hong Kong Direct. Boys, all the best of luck for Monday and as the start of the Chinese New Year. Kung Ei Fat Choi to you both.
Kung Ei Fat Choi.
You too, Ed.
We'll leave you then with a look back at one of the memorable editions of the Classic Mile back in 2017 when it was won by Rapid Dragon as he went on to clean sweep the 4-year-old series. We'll see you next time on the show.
They're at the 1,000-metre point and taking over is Circuit Hassler. Strides a length clear, but Winner's Way quickly works up to sit outside of him. Rodrigo is positioned third on the outside of People's Night and Pakistan Star. 3 deep, no cover. On the outside of Rapid Dragon, Let Us Win. Then Beauty Generation, who's fighting for more rain. On the inside of Western Express and Seasons Bloom down on the rail. A length away to Eagle Way from Super Chic Baba Mama and Helene Charisma. 500 metres out. They approach the bend in the Classic Mile and Circuit Hassler leads by a half to Winner's Way. Rodrigo, People's Night, Rapid Dragon looking for room. Pakistan Star, Beauty Generation to the outside with Western Express. Circuit Hassler from Winner's Way. Beauty Generation, Rapid Dragon darting through. Pakistan Star, Rapid Dragon took the lead at the 200 from Beauty Generation. Pakistan Star, Winner's Way, and then Seasons Bloom, but Rapid Dragon going well, getting further in front. He's the heavyweight of the 4-year-old series, Rapid Dragon, and he's too good for them in the Classic Mile.